people, what's up with this? It's supposed to be horizontal. What is going on with the camera? There we go. That seems pretty normal now. Welcome to Rock Springs, Wyoming. Yeah, I know. I've never been here either. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking to yourself, Eric, why go to Rock Springs, Wyoming? Well, I didn't come to Rock Springs, Wyoming, but I just stopped here on my way through Rock Springs, Wyoming. Stopped here to spend the night at the Holiday Inn Express. Gotta say, it's quite nice. And overall, hello there, Winston's mom. Overall, I just gotta say, I am happy enough to be on my way. So, we got this rental truck, which is a 20-foot truck. We got it on Tuesday. I was planning on doing all the packing Wednesday, leaving on Thursday. Instead, I packed all day Wednesday, all day Thursday, half day Friday before I was even able to leave the house. And let me tell you, those were several of the most miserable days in a while, or at least most just taxing. But probably the worst part of it was Friday morning when I couldn't leave yet on Friday because I wasn't done packing. I needed to go get even more cordage from the hardware store. Oh, that was painful. And when I did leave on Friday, well, naturally it was too late. It was like 1:30 in the afternoon or something. All the way, pretty much through Reno, I was hitting on again, off again traffic. It was horrible. Hi, the Cameron. Nice chatting with you today on the phone, by the way. I talked with Cameron earlier today on the telephone. That was pleasant. So this is what Rock Springs, Wyoming looks like. I was kind of surprised. See the hills off in the distance there. I shouldn't have been surprised, but nevertheless, I found it surprising just how few settlements there are in Wyoming. You can take I-80 all the way from Utah border, right at the Utah border, like I think it's called like Evansville or something. There's a little town right there in Wyoming. Then there's hardly another thing all the way from there to Rock Springs. It's just endless miles of I-80 with no settlements on either side of it. It's kind of crazy. I'm not getting back in the truck till tomorrow morning. I'm done for the day. I've got a schedule that I had to catch up to today because of my delay on Friday. But I did catch up. I'm supposed to be here tonight. I am here tonight. And I'm going to get a good night's sleep. I'm going to try to beat the schedule tomorrow. I currently have scheduled a night in a hotel just 100 miles from New York on the grounds that last 100 miles is going to be really tricky with New York traffic, Long Island, whatever. This is Claude's schedule, you know. But I'm thinking, well, shit, I could add an extra couple 100 miles, add an extra 100 miles each day from now forward, and I shouldn't really need to do that. But of course, I didn't want to try to add any today because The thing about Wyoming is, I don't know if there's anything. I could have like researched it, but I was pretty tired at that point anyway. But I don't know if there's anything for another couple 100 miles. For all I know, there's not. So I figured might as well stop in Rock Springs. At the end of the day yesterday, when I got into the Super 8 motel and fucking, what's it called? Like Macamuca or something like that, Nevada, I felt like I was about dead. I finally pulled in there late. I'm not sure what time I got to sleep, but it was like after 11, I think. And I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, but I still woke up feeling a lot better. Sturgis was down this year, and I discovered a cool girl biker out of LA. Her channel is the Iron Pony Show, so I saw a lot of Sturgis through her eyes. Ah, party at the Holiday Inn Express, Putty Cat, not the Holiday Inn. I'm not staying across the street. The reason I'm staying here is primarily because of the parking. With this massive truck and trailer that I got going on, there is parking, turning, etc. is a big thing. It is not possible to back that thing out at all. Not by myself for sure. And I got to be real careful about tight corners too. I'll take the trailer up on a curb and stuff. You know, I've already taken it up on a curb before, but that's fine. It didn't get hurt or anything. But I can assure you, we are bringing far too much stuff to New York for a 2-bedroom apartment. So I'm either gonna have to get rid of some stuff, or I might, for a very brief period of time, like 2 months maybe, I might get a storage unit. But we'll see what happens when I get there, because I didn't pack a lot of snacks. I did bring myself a package of waters, 24-pack of waters, which I've been very glad for. You know, I'll stop at someplace around here before I leave tomorrow morning, like Burger King or McDonald's for breakfast. And then, you know, I'll try to get a nice early start on the road. I believe my next state that I'm supposed to stop in is Nebraska. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how Nebraska goes. I'm hopeful that they don't make me husk too much corn while I'm there. But I do respect the fact that they may have to force me to husk some corn. I was considering maybe eating mushrooms tonight, but I decided against it. Storage unit is a money suck, I agree. That's why I'm saying 1 or 2 months while I figure it out. It's just that it would be better if I didn't get one at all, obviously. But the thing is, I don't know, like, by the time we get over there, I'm really gonna need a break, you know? I don't know how much more object triage, object management, organization. It's like the last several months, well, since May, June, July, about half of May, most of August, I've been doing stuff that's just fundamentally not in my wheelhouse. I will watch out for the children of the corn. He who walks behind the rows don't F around. True. Absolutely.
Oh, right.
No, Rachel's in Mariposa with the cats. The reason we're doing it this way is so that the cats can fly with us when we go back. After I get all the stuff from New York, unpack it all, either with or without help, I'm not sure. Like, I'd be wise to hire a couple of day laborers to help with that, but we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. The thing is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the mattress and the box springs and the other heavy stuff upstairs by myself. I think it's possible, but probably going to be a big challenge. The reason I say it's possible is I could like tie some ropes to the handles of the mattress and pull it up the stairs like that. The box springs I could take up with the dolly probably. It's got the big fat wheels on it, so it goes upstairs pretty good. Anyway, we'll see what ends up happening there. If I decide like, okay, well, I just want to get rid of all of this stuff here, too much stuff, well then I'm going to put it back in the back of the truck after I'm done unpacking everything and either take it to a storage unit or to the dump. Did I pack my dandelions? What about the parents of the corn? It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your corn children are? Easy answer, Dallas. They're in the corn. That's possible. I could see if Rachel's dad can find me a local or something. I could even, if I wanted to, if you wrap a tie down around the short side of the mattress, it helps to carry it beside you. Still paying TaskRabbit. I've never heard of TaskRabbit, but I do know that in the U-Haul they've got a QR code you can scan to get like carrying help. I'm imagining that's not going to be the least expensive kind of help, but it's it's probably worth it. My concern about when I get to New York is that the mattress and the box springs and the bed frame, they're all pushed up against the cab, right? You're supposed to put your heavy stuff in the front of the truck. I think I did a pretty solid job of tying everything down. It doesn't sound like anything's moving around in the back of the truck at all. I haven't heard any like alarming clangs or whatever. I was a little bit concerned about that when I left. I thought, well, Eric, you sure did a lot of rope tying and stuff, but I'm not absolutely convinced that you did a good job. You used a lot of tie downs, a lot of rope, a lot of bungee cords, but did you do a good job of doing this? Well, I think I did. I really do, because it seems like nothing's really moving around back there. I've got the car on a trailer being towed behind the truck. And so I'm able to use like the trunk of the car as an accessible stuff area. second on TaskRabbit, and not just for the mattresses, but because you may have a limited time to park in front of the building. Yeah, no, we haven't sold the house yet. I'm in Rock Springs, Wyoming, and no, I do not want to be a truck driver. TaskRabbit, huh? Alright, I'll check it out before I get to New York. See if I can schedule something there. The other thing is, when I get there and I'm parked along the street there, I will be easily enough able to unhitch the trailer from the truck. But it's going to be considerably more challenging to hook up the tow hitch again. You really need somebody back there going, you know, like Rachel did with me on Friday morning. Claude cannot help me unpack, nor was he able to help me pack. The thing that was so frustrating about the packing, of course, was that it took more than twice as long as I was imagining it was going to take. It took 250% as long. And that's where your frustration really comes from. It's like you have expectations and then they fail to be realized. Well, that's prime directive shit, you know? And obviously, having TE6 is just like, fuck that noise. Our crew of two runs $270. Well, that's reasonable enough. I could get U-Haul people, or I could get, I could try TaskRabbit. I guess it might be not a terrible idea to use U-Haul people. Well, Doyle, you know, it's pretty pleasant around here. It's incredibly unpopulated. I just drove through hundreds of miles of Wyoming and I hardly saw a single city on either side of the I-80, you know. But let me tell you, it is expensive filling that truck up with gas. Less so now that I'm out of California. But it's still very expensive. I see any moose? No, I didn't see any mooses. I went all the way through Utah today. I started in, you know, I don't know, like let's say a couple hundred miles from the Utah border. And I ended in Wyoming a couple hundred miles from the Utah border. Seems like. So I guess Utah's not that far to cross, really. Went through Salt Lake City. I recognize Salt Lake City. I've been there before. Well, it's not diesel, actually, Dallas. It's regular unleaded gasoline. I didn't see any knuckles either. I haven't bought any cigarettes in Wyoming. The last cigarettes I bought were in Nevada. But I'll probably get some tomorrow. Alright, we're going to head back upstairs where, for the first time since I left home, I'm logged into the internet on my laptop. I was able to update Claude. I was like, okay, Claude, can you look in this folder, catch yourself up with what we're doing? And then he's like, okay, so you're supposed to be in Rock Springs, Wyoming tonight. Are you actually there? No, I'm not going to Illinois tomorrow. I think I'm going to Nebraska. After that, Des Moines, I think. When we get back upstairs, I'll look at the itinerary and see where we're supposed to be. Really? I had no idea. I thought I saw weed stores when I entered Wyoming. Like they were servicing, I thought they were servicing people who came in from Utah. But maybe it was like Hawaii weed, where it's not real weed. Well, if I had known that, I probably wouldn't have smoked a joint in the parking lot of the pizza place across the street there. Oh well, whatevs. I'm sure I'll go outside and smoke a joint again later. I just have to, keep it on the down low. I'm not supposed to smoke in the U-Haul, but I'm smoking in the U-Haul. Because I cannot drive all the way across country without having an occasional cigarette. I don't want to have to stop every time I have a cigarette. It's ridiculous. You smoked weed in Wyoming? Says me with bragging about my street cred. You have so much street cred, Winston's mom. There's no denying that. Well, it sounds like that ESFP had some good ideas. Alright, so I decided to start outside, but we're going back up to the room now. I'm gonna fold this up so I'm not quite so conspicuous. Come on. All right. There we go. I got it. So now that we have, next thing you know, I'll be jaywalking in Nebraska, which I believe has some of the harshest jaywalking penalties in the country. We'll see if we can make it up the elevator without too many problems. We may be disconnected briefly while I go up the elevator. We'll see. No, I'm not going to the swimming pool. Swimming's for nerds. If I was meant to swim, I would have been born in the ocean. Clearly. Well, we made it back. Right to the room. We didn't disconnect at all. It's a miracle. I'm surprised Rachel isn't here in the live stream. I talked to her before I had dinner. Told her I was going to stream. She said she was going to be here. I'm sure she's distracted by something else at the moment. Oh, come on. Don't be like that. All right. I've got the laptop plugged into the HDMI thing on the TV. And I'm living large. Hotel fresh. I'm not, technically, I guess you would say I'm not a huge fan of staying in hotels like I used to be. I used to be quite fond of staying in hotels. Not so much anymore. It's still kind of nice, you know, like this is a nice room. I've got 2 queen size beds here. You know, reasonable enough rate. It was like $140 or something. I am going through Iowa at some point here. And you've not been to Nebraska, Kansas, Utah, Iowa, Idaho, or Wyoming. I've not been to Nebraska. I had never been to Wyoming until today. But I have been to the other ones that you mentioned there. In general, I'm probably well served to stay out of Kansas and Oklahoma. Who's the other bed for? Well, that's in case if during the middle of the night I feel like changing beds. Hey, Gyalt, going to Vallejo within half an hour. What are you going to do in Vallejo? Yes, we did get tranquilizers for the cats. And we will give them to them before we take them on the big trip to New York, you know. It's going to be a long flight, long day for them in general. Long flight. You know, hopefully they don't go to the bathroom in their carriers. And researching more on Carl Jung's psychological type. Catching up on math, I forgot, so it's easier to get back in college. Food is always a tough thing when you're on the hotel staying path. Yeah, well, I had a sit down dinner tonight, and I was like, it wasn't like fancy or anything. It was like gastropub place. Got a burger and a couple non-alcoholic beers, and it was like $40. So I was like, I don't need to eat. I don't need to eat sit down. I could just have McDonald's or whatever. Save a little money that way. Yeah, we'll get those for sure, Winston's mom. And if necessary, we will clean up whatever mess and throw it away somewhere. You know, I'll bring some like trash bags that I can perhaps toss in like the bathroom trash can or something, just in case. I'll bring some like plastic grocery bags. Not that we have those anymore in California. But maybe I can get them in some other state. Well, I'm glad to hear that your obsidian is proving useful. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, too, Winston's mom. The thing is, we don't have much stuff at our house anymore, right? Rachel's there with a bed upstairs, and no, you can get Ziploc bags. Um, Galt's younger than you think, Dallas. He's in his early 20s. I forget how old exactly. Hey, Rachel. Nice to see you. I was hoping you'd show up. Yeah, you don't. They got rid of those. Everybody was so opposed to them that just it didn't matter what any laws or rules said. Everyone was just like, "Fuck that." I've not seen a paper straw in a long time. Some ideas are just so bad that it doesn't matter how much people want to be, you know, environmentally protecting or whatever. I was, you know, on the last, I, I guess on Thursday when I was packing up the truck, maybe somewhat on Friday morning, but I think it was mostly Thursday. I uh, I finally got down to all the Strauss family ephemera, just all my dad's slides and photo albums, and oh my God, it's so much stuff. Um, I ended up having to throw away some of the photo albums. I tried to throw away things from the early 90s where it was after I was out of the house before Delilah came around. So it was just pictures of my parents on vacations, a lot of pictures of buildings. My dad loved taking pictures of buildings. Why? I don't know. My NI polar, that's why. It's like, he, if you're SI tool, you think it's worthwhile to document all of your experiences, regardless of how uninteresting they are, you know? Yeah, well, y'all, you got a long ways to go. I think about the inevitability of death fairly often as well. Um, no, Rachel's been drinking the booze. Rachel went through a little drinking phase until one night she got like good and drunk, and then after that she didn't really drink again for a while. She got drunk and threw up, and then she was like, I don't want to drink anymore. But yeah, it's when I'm feeling like I'm in a dark mood, which happens when I don't get enough sleep for too long. Although not necessarily. So, like Odysseus, you would choose to be mortal instead of immortal. That is the best part. I mean, I don't think I'd choose to be immortal because, you know, that's a life sentence. If the ideal scenario would be you could just stop aging and then decide later on when you wanted to resume aging. That would be great. That'd be fine. Of course, the world would be a little overpopulated if people could do that. I'm trying to ignore the numbers because they creep me out a bit and cause me to question the nature of reality in uncomfortable ways. What numbers? Oh, numerical synchronicity messing with your head. I see. Those kind of numbers. Trouble still waiting for my arrival? Well, he's going to have to wait a while. At some point while I'm gone, he's going to have to eat with you watching him. Has he eaten yet? Oh, have you changed the water? Make sure you change the water every day because, they don't like old water. Well, there are plenty of things that make me question the nature of reality. Plenty of things. But I think that that's primarily just because humans are, whatever happens in the world, you're going to link it back to your own ongoing narratives. And sometimes things seem so synchronicity ish, but I suspect it's just implicit to the nature of human meaning making. It's hard to say for sure. There certainly are reasons to think maybe like we are in a simulation. Like a variety of things seem to be suggestive of that, really. I simply don't know what comes next in terms of life and death. I have a hunch there's more to this reality than meets the eye, but beyond that, I don't know. He will have to be there for a while. I did change the water and watch them both eat. Yeah, he's gonna be there for a while. Did I see any cowboys? No. Um, I saw more of those young men with their hat worn up high on their head for some reason. They like have these tall hats and they wear it just on top of their head. They don't pull it down at all. Or maybe the hat's a little too small for them. I don't understand what this fashion trend is. It's only a fashion trend in rural places. Um, like if you are in Mariposa or in Wyoming and you're a young man, apparently you wear your hat like that. They have like big caps, like kind of almost like square caps, and they wear it right on top of their head. It's strange. It's like that's not a good way to wear your hat. Yeah, top hat baseball caps. That's a good way to put it. Top hat baseball caps. Sir Topham hat. Nothing says hotel like soaking in the hot tub downstairs and going to bed. Hot tubs are great. I think I'm gonna take a bath here tonight. The bathtub looks nice and clean and everything. I took 2 showers yesterday. Yeah, they do. They do. GQ says they're called dirtbag hats. Oh, really? So there's a name for it and everything. I told you. I told you that 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 was a thing. I prefer top hat baseball caps to dirtbag hats, but apparently dirtbag hats. Heartland drag. Did you scope out the place for bed bugs? No, it seems nice and clean. It's not like the newest hotel, and you can tell that because if it were if it were you know fairly new, it would have the USB things that go directly into the wall, but it just has regular plugs. It's got like the generation of cool before they actually just had the USB. Like, hey, we'll put a plug up here on the light. Oh yeah, well, if you waited like 1 year, you would have put a USB there. You know what I'm saying? They're that close to USB time. So, in case you were wondering, I take USB-C. I I asked my phone today because I wanted to buy a pair of headphones, which I will use tomorrow. I'm not going to use I didn't use them at all today because by the time I bought the headphones, um, I was already running low on battery. Let's see. Austin Butler is one of the celebrities leading that trend. The article's from 2025. Jacob Elordi, who's been punctuating his outfits with a Kelly Green St. Natalie Wood cap from James Franco's brand, Palais Hollywood, a streetwear label specializing in dirtbaggish finery. Huh. Well, don't stick a fork in any of those outlets, Gil. Hi, Ike. The USA is so great. Why did someone invent the USB? Excellent question, Ike OG. Excellent, excellent question. Does the hotel have a sweet vending machine with Cheetos and Snickers bars? I haven't noticed any vending machine. They do have free coffee downstairs, which is nice. I already had a cup of it though. It was fairly strong, so I don't want any more coffee. Hi, Sam Gloves. Yep, it's my gloves friend. I don't have any gloves with me. Actually, I do have some gloves in the back of the truck, but they're work gloves. So, I think we'll probably go outside pretty soon. Maybe even I'll show you guys the back of the truck. It's crazy that it's so big. Did you know that you're currently inside of a building that no one would traditionally call home? Well, that's true. That's absolutely true. Nobody would call a hotel home unless they live there 100% of the time. That sounds right. We often play them early in the season, but you can. San Jose State can sometimes be pretty good. It's called Rock Springs. Rock Springs, Wyoming. One of the things that they have a lot of in Wyoming are fireworks stores. Um, no, not Rock Springs. Rock Springs. Yeah, I'm reverse organ trailing. It's the International Pringles Outlet Store here in Pringles Can, Wyoming. Springs. Rock Springs. I find math to be interesting and satisfying. Symmetry might not be the right word, but there's something about the logical purity of it that's just satisfying. Yeah, well, sure, it's nice and TI sound, you know. Things are correct or incorrect. People never have to disagree accordingly. Hotel rooms are great. If the walls could speak, I would not want to hear anything they had to say. Coal mining and 56 nationalities in Sweetwater County. No, I mean, Common Core is just, uh, it, it's not that they don't teach the same things, it's that they don't let people teach them properly. Well, I was never a huge fan of math, I think because I just didn't feel like I understood the point of it. Hotels usually have thin walls. We travel enough, you'll hear someone living in the hotel. Well, this room seems pretty quiet. If you think regular Holiday Inn is too slow, that's where you go to Holiday Inn Express. All right, let's go down to the truck, or near the truck. I don't know how far away from the hotel I'm going to get before I run out of Wi-Fi, but hopefully, maybe the bars will cover the difference. Trouble has been double patrolling. Well, the cats were understandably upset by our rearranging of everything. Like, when we start moving all the stuff, we're messing with their scent marked territory. Like, hold on, you can't move that chair. I already rubbed my face against it a bunch of times. Rock doesn't work all day, and pretty soon you're likely to hear the springs. Rocks have springs like a bed? No, springs like a hot springs. I will be back before Trouble knows it. Trouble thinks the big trauma is that I'm gone right now, but he has no idea what's coming. What's coming is much worse than that. Now, this is odd, right? Like, is this, yeah, okay, this is attached to this. It doesn't work. It has no light bulb. But isn't that like one lamp sitting on top of another table? No, these are actually connected to each other. Yeah, well, Capilla is pretty chill. She likes lying down with you, I'm sure, just as much as she likes lying down with me. What she likes most of all is that Trouble's not there. Sweet Water Blues and Brews, Saturday, 7 p.m. $40. No thanks. I want to make an automation factory game surrounding refining sludge. I get paranoid staying in hotels and never leave my toothbrush out if I stay more than one day. Fair enough. Does the room have a Bible? Maybe. I haven't looked in all the drawers. I don't think that usually happens so much anymore. Yeah, I don't see one. I didn't look at the bottom. I don't think so. Alright, well, I'll bring the key to the truck down in case I want to get in there. I got my water, got my keys, got my cigarettes. Yeah, well, I guess Gideon didn't make it by this hotel. So anyway, throwing away some of my parents' photo albums was kind of like existentially stark. It's like my dad went to all the trouble to document all those vacations he and my mom went on and stuff, and even his own son that doesn't even have an interest in all that. I mean, I did save the vast majority of it. Hi, Alex, by the way. Um, I'm moving around a lot at the moment, kind of, because I'm driving across country. Oh yeah, moving is an absolutely brutal process, and totally not in the wheelhouse of me and Rachel. Having said that, though, I think we've done kind of a fabulous job of it. Kind of a shockingly good job of it. Rachel kicked so much ass towards the end there. It was necessary for her to have all her stuff packed up in boxes and dishes and all that kind of stuff. She really worked hard on those last couple of days, just like I did. And, you know, in the end, I made it out here to Rock Springs on schedule. Now, granted, we had to push the schedule back a day, but that was fine because we had some cushion days built in there anyway. And in fact, I extended the truck rental by not 1 day, but 2 days. So I have an extra day with the truck. Like, you know, at the end when it was time for the truck, I was just spent, totally spent already, you know. And one of the things that goes when I'm feeling super spent is I don't want to interface. I just want to do action stuff. So like at the end there, my TE was even worse, and I just kind of did mindless SE to instead, and accordingly did things dumb. Have plenty of regrets about not having better TE and wasting a bunch of time and energy needlessly. But like one of the big problems was I should have put the car trailer up on the street. Instead, I put it on the only flat ground in the driveway. I needed it on flat ground, but accordingly, the truck was parked on a hill this way, so I was walking uphill the truck all the time. It's just like, I like things to be recursive, not iterative. Why you think that Nebraska is even worse about weed than Wyoming? I'll smoke it later. It's fine. I can conceive of myself coming back out after dark and pulling some bong rips. I got the bong in the back of the trunk of the car. I got a bottle of water back there too, so I could pull bong rips behind the car down. Or I could do it in the truck too. Might be a little bit less sketch. That probably made this less able to move things around. What probably did? Live chat. Oh, you mean me having to load the truck on a slant? Yeah, it probably did make me secure things better because they would have slid down the hill otherwise, you know. Anyway, throwing those photo albums away, it just made me think, like, what's the point of anything? You put all this effort into this documentation, and even your own son throws it away. But it was just so boring, right? It's like, who wants to look at a bunch of pictures of buildings from Ireland in 1992? Nobody. But yeah, I saved the vast majority of the stuff. And I guess in an ideal world, I'd get it all digitized or try to digitize it all myself. But that'd take forever. I mean, there's so many still photos. Yeah, I can't even conceive of how much money it would cost to get them all digitized or how long it would take me to do it. But maybe if I do it a little bit at a time for years, maybe I can make a dent in it, you know. I do have, and I brought with us, slide projectors, and I'm hopeful that I can actually put in some of those slides. And yeah, those aren't valuable memories. They do probably have free breakfast here. I don't know if I can get it or not. I usually am not quite ready for breakfast right when I get up, so probably, well, maybe I'll wait till I get to the next place that's got. Yeah, well, I mean, I spent like over $100 getting those 5 8 millimeter films developed. I mean, put onto digital, right? When my mother-in-law was unalive, her husband tried throwing out picture albums. The kids kept them. Now they pass them around to each other, and the boxes are never opened. Right. It's a whole lot of SI, you know. And there's nothing inherently interesting about some random person's random experiences. It's like the subversion of media for SI purposes. But of course, I understand that I do a fair amount of that myself. I'm doing it right now, you know. I'm sharing my experience of traveling and struggling to move and such. But at least I'm providing a little bit of additional commentary on the futility of life, I guess. I don't know if that's a sort of positive. I don't know. I am a very different person than I was a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I used to be so, like, I guess you'd say, vigorous in some ways. I'd get angry, I'd want to play so much, and I'd be guilty of various imprudences as well. Like tonight, I was thinking maybe I'll take mushrooms tonight, but I thought no, Eric, because then you're gonna have trouble going to sleep, and you could, if you want to do that, do it tomorrow, maybe. You know, because I should be able to get an earlier start tomorrow than I did this morning. Even though I got a fairly early start this morning, but tonight I plan to go to bed around, you know, 9 or 10. And I'd sleep through to, say, if I could get out of here at 5 in the morning, well, that'd be an hour and a half earlier than I got out of here, out of Nevada this morning. And if I got a better night's sleep, I could be a little bit more rested and maybe have a a less taxing drive tomorrow, which would mean I could go for longer. I'm getting myself positioned better in the truck now for comfort. And, like, oh, this isn't my room. This is my room. Like the first day, I didn't realize that you could push the seat back, and my knees were like banging up underneath of the steering wheel and stuff. Then I realized, oh, you can move these seats back. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, I'll definitely stream if I take the mushrooms tomorrow. I did a quick search. There are 3 legal hemp shops in Rock Springs. They have like Hawaii style weed. Yeah, there is an order of operations. Thanks, Rachel. You're so cute. Oh. Oh. This is all pretty crazy, but it proceeds forward one day at a time. And we've already gotten through really the most difficult parts of it, probably. Yeah. Don't try to smoke that synthetic cannabis. But if they have like hemp stores here that sell bullshit weed, I might as well go smoke that joint, because who's to say that it's not that kind of weed? When I depart the earth, Claude will save my memorabilia for future generations to enjoy. Well, the thing is, my memorabilia is all saved here on YouTube. I mean, sure, Google Photos as well, I guess. But, like, presumably, if I stop paying my Google storage monies, then they'll just delete all that stuff. It is a good journey, Doyle. I'm really happy we're moving, and I'm looking forward to being moved. You're the enabler wife. I'm in favor of American drugs too. But, probably, I guess because I'm just older and wiser and less of a dumbass and more of a, like, I guess you could say beaten down by life a bit. Or you could just say more careful. I try to schedule that. See you, Gail. Have a good one. Try to schedule that in a sensible fashion. I was thinking that I wasn't going to stop here today because I was thinking that it wasn't even going to be check-in time. But then I realized, oh, I'm no longer in the same time zone. Ah. Yeah. Rachel was on a bit of a gin kick there for a while. We got a big bottle of Bombay Sapphire, and she was working her way through it. I think that had to do with the move as well. Like, she was not enjoying it any more than I was. Although we were both handling things well. That's maybe the advantage of having FI backstack. But like I didn't even sort of recognize how just how much of a massive burden I was carrying every day, all day until like last week when when I had a little mushroom freak out about I'm done with this. I have no more. Having Karl Marx and Winston Churchill as advisors. I don't know anything about Obsidian. I just know what Gelt said that it's a note taking app. I don't really have a lot of cause to take a lot of notes, but I guess presumably it's got like maybe advanced copy paste as well. Yeah, well, yeah, I think it was last Friday, and I was cleaning the carpets. Right as I got to the end of cleaning the carpets, right near the end, I ate the mushrooms then, only to determine that, you know, oh, well, I'm now, it's true, I was close to being done with the carpets. Now I'm done with the carpet, but I still have to move all the stuff back into the house. So I had a lot of more like work to do before I was able to stop doing that and just be on mushrooms. And by the time I did, I was just like, I've had enough of this. I hate it so much. Yeah, we got these flavored sparkling waters at the house. They're pretty good. They're quite thirst quenching. It was a happy time, you know. The thing about mushrooms is they consistently remind me what it feels like to be happy. 2 ounces Wyoming whiskey, small batch, zero point 0.5 ounce coffee liqueur, 2 dashes orange bitters, garnish flamed orange peel. The Wyoming Revolver. The stress from moving is real. I read that I can be so stressed that it's a catalyst for divorce. Well, I mean, the thing is, I think both of us did a great job of not taking out our frustrations on the other person. But I could see how, you know, it can cause a lot of conflict because it's just so like it's a constant series of irritations and frustrations because you don't know where anything is, and and both people are like leaving shit all over the place. AI help told you to pack ASAP. Well, that was smart of I didn't really pack till the very end. Yeah, psilocybin is an undervalued natural remedy, but it's not for everybody, you know. For me, um, it works great. It's super good for my mental health, my well-being in general. But not not everybody likes it. Rachel doesn't like mushrooms. It's well more than halfway over, Puttycat. Given that the thing started in May, I guess technically it's not over to the house cells, but um, all the serious work will be over when I return this truck to. Well, actually, no. All the serious work will be over when Rachel and I fly back in on the 4th. 4th of September, we're basically done. At that point, it's all in the realtor's hands. I will have attended to everything I needed to attend to, and so we're pretty close to being done. You know, obviously, if the house sits on the market for a long time, then we've got additional stresses, concerns, or whatever, but it'll be fine regardless. Everyone's I've talked to say that we're doing it the best way, selling it without living it. Yeah, for sure. Um, if you if you try to sell it while you're living in it, then when it does go into escrow, you've got 30 days to get everything out of there. And we definitely needed more than 30 days to process that whole house. I'm in Wyoming, Casey Jones. Rock Springs, Wyoming. Oh, cool. Well, since mom says that she read a recent real estate report from Mariposa and sales were up 31% from last year. That's great. It helps with my anxiety. I have used mushrooms since my 20s. I don't get the giggles like you there, Eric. It's cool to see that, though. Well, I don't always get the giggles, but it's nice when I do. Yeah, it's surprisingly just empty. All the way from the yeah, well, it is one of the cheaper counties in California, but that was true when we bought there too. So it's like the the it's like if we tried to have that house in say San Francisco or Los Angeles, it would be millions of dollars. Yeah, I like Giggly Tripping Eric too. I feel as though I'm not as I don't have as much humor going on as I used to, both in terms of appreciating things that are funny and in terms of making jokes and stuff. But I'm hopeful that when we settle into New York and this whole process is done, then I'll be able to relax and feel happy again. I got harassed online by mobs of people simply because I had a different opinion than them. I'm sorry to hear that. What opinion of yours was so controversial? You're in favor of nuclear war? I think that's fine, Curious Wonder. You can be as in favor of nuclear war as you want. I'm still just as handsome, huh? Shrooms are magic. They're like the most magic drug of all. The weird thing is, the week before, the first mushrooms I took of this Adderall bottle, I took an eighth and a half, and I didn't, I didn't, I didn't feel like I was tripping very hard at all. I think that was just because I had so much on my mind, really. I said I was pro-life, then a bunch of pro-choicers told me I wanted children to be in pain and suffer. Of course, you never said that. And they called you a misogynist because you said a fetus was life. Well, that's nothing misogynist about that, all right? Unless you're only pro-life for male babies. But I will tell you for sure, Curious Wanderer, that abortion is as hot button a topic as you're going to find. And people on both sides are very polarized generally. Most people don't have a middle ground kind of opinion on abortion. But that kind of bullshit is bullshit where people are saying you because you have a position that I disagree with, you must be in favor of these horrible things or whatever. That's obviously not the case. You have your position because you view unborn fetuses and stuff as having the same rights as humans. They could argue that you're wrong about that, but to say that you want to see babies suffer and stuff, that's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. I'm pro taking responsibility for your own actions and emotions. Taxes can be a little bit hot button, but not as hot button as abortion. I don't like all the bullshit rhetoric, like all the extremist rhetoric that you know, or just the general doublespeak. Like abortion access does not qualify as reproductive rights, and Plan B does not qualify as murdering a baby. I'm sorry, everybody, but let's just use words like we're supposed to use them to mean things that they mean. All right, well, I guess let's go back down to the street. Now that I know you can get CBD weed here, I'll go ahead and smoke that joint downstairs. I don't like being told what to do. Forget about my body. It's really tricky because there are people having children that can't afford kids, and others simply just made a mistake. It's difficult. Yeah, well, abortion's hot button. You know, people get people are very attached to their position on it, whichever it is, whatever it is, and accordingly, I don't even bother anymore explaining things to people because people don't want to hear my correct explanation. Eric, we live inside the simulation. Nothing really matters because besides creature comforts and mild physical resistance for strength. Well, why should those things be prioritized in the simulation? I guess that's a way to explain it. If anybody asks you to say it's CBD, it's legal. Yeah. Oh, stimulation. We live inside the stimulation. It's a new and emerging concept of reality. Okay, well, can you explain what the concept is? Well, I mean, and the thing about this weed that we have now is it's so old and not stony that might as well be CBD weed, you know. It's still more stony than nothing, but not by a particularly large amount. It's inside the stimulation we stimulate. Have I made an FE error that will get them in trouble by bringing up legal stuff? I know with mine, they gave me a paper saying it's legal and can't be smoked in public. Well, everyone can debate and nobody changes their mind. Well, the point of debate isn't to get people to change their mind, it's to determine what's correct. People can still be as wrong as they want, but by losing the debate, we know they are wrong. People will always choose to be wrong. It's like their favorite thing. I never felt like I was most in a simulation working at Trader Joe's. I'd be stocking produce and people would walk right into me as if I were a ghost to pass through. Oh, yeah, I could go into the U-Haul. I'm not sure we will be able to get Wi-Fi there, but maybe the live stream will continue on the basis of bars. I'm not sure if it is able to do that or not. If it like can switch from Wi-Fi to bars midway, but we can give it a shot and see. It's so weird that there are still states where it's illegal. I mean, how strange. Like, why? What in the world was anybody thinking? When we get to our destination, maybe like Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not exactly sure. Today's Saturday. Tomorrow, I think Nebraska. The next day, Des Moines. The day after that, Pennsylvania. And the day after that, New York. So I think it's that. I think that's the schedule. But I'm not 100% sure. Maybe another place in there. It's quite a large country to drive across, you know. Oh, it's so stormy seeming out here. Wow. Look at all this. Wind and clouds and everything. Who knows what's going on? Well, I'm going back there, you know. Can we all acknowledge how Eric has a face the camera loves? I do. The camera is a W. I've had an idea regarding typology and debate skills, says Derek. What if you watch debatable typology and entertain debates regarding typology? That's possible, I suppose. I'm driving from sea to shining sea. All the people I know who travel north across country said Pennsylvania is the worst. Yeah, apparently Pennsylvania is quite a challenge to get across. That's why Claude's scheduled me to protect your child. Keep your children away from the door handle. Okay. I will. I won't let any children near the door handle. There. How's that? That's pretty good. Roll down the window. Get this joint out here. I rolled earlier. I won't smoke this bad boy. Of course, I smoked this earlier. I smoked one earlier in the parking lot of the pizza place across the street. I was not being very DL about it because I assumed that weed was legal based on what I saw in Evansville, but it must have been one of those CBD stores. I mean, seriously though, like, who could possibly care about something so inoffensive as smoking weed? I should be so lucky as to get all intoxicated from it. Instead, it's just like smoking cigarettes, but it gives you a little bit of a head change. Nice thing about U-Haul trucks is they've got like random states plates on them, so I'm not going to be perceived as a Californian. You know, lots of places in the country, I'm sure the cops are just licking their chops to pull over someone from California. California is such a dog whistle. People who self-identify as being on the right or Republicans, they really don't like California. They see it as an example of everything bad. But California's just fine, you know. It's got its ugly parts, you know. I wouldn't want Oakland to represent California. But I'm happy to be going to New York. Change of pace. And I'm going to develop a thick Long Island accent. I'm going to say, and she thinks she can come into my house and talk about my husband like that? That's where I draw the line. It's not the best Long Island accent ever, but you get the gist of it. I'll have to work on my Long Island accent. Yeah. Rachel is going back home, and it's a wonderful symmetry to the whole thing because she came and lives in my childhood, raising up city. Now I'm going to hers. I got to show her like places where I went to school and stuff, you know, like that. She'll get to do the same for me. And when I was in the pizza place earlier, obviously Wyoming doesn't have any major sports teams, right? There's not. They got the Wyoming Cowboys a college football team, but that's basically it. So on TV, they had on the Yes Network, and the Yes Network is the network that shows Yankee games. They were doing a like highlights from the Yankee game that just finished. The Yankees lost today, but I was excited to see, hey, the Yankees are 3.5 games back. Now, that's some September baseball I'm interested in watching. Because Rachel and I have decided to cut ties with them, the Athletics have the absolute worst record in baseball since May 25th or so, like, which is right around when we decided to move, right? Right around when we decided to move, the A's just started losing and just have kept losing ever since. As soon as we stopped caring about them, it was us who kept them afloat at all. I didn't even realize that. Seems quite serendipitous that the Athletics suck now. I'm excited to watch Yankees, see if we can. And we're already see if we can win the division, or if not, hopefully get a wild card at least. And I gotta tell you, I'm sorry, but you know what really chaps my hide? Giancarlo Stanton missing so many games because of injury. Do you know that over the last 5 seasons with the Yankees, he's missed 300 and some games, maybe 400 games to injury? Ridiculous. As a longtime Yankees fan, this makes me so furious. Giancarlo. What kind of a first name is that anyway? It's like they took a regular name, Carlo, and they decided to just add a G in the front of it for no reason. I'll show you guys this spooky thing here, but it's not really spooky because I went down and looked at it and it just goes to something like the laundry room for that motel across the street. Is Judge still injured too? Well, given these injuries, I think we should all feel pretty pleased that they're only 3.5 games back. I'll be able to settle into watching some baseball come September. Watching some Yanks. Stanton is this generation's Alex Rodriguez. Well, I don't think he's got quite that ridiculous contract that A-Rod had. It's not that A-Rod was really bad for the Yankees. He was better before he joined the Yankees for some reason. Like when he was with the Texas Rangers, he was like the best player in baseball. Then he joined the Yankees and he just dropped a level. He was still great, but not that great, you know. You have high standards for the Yankees. I don't blame you. Right, they should be able to do their magic despite Judge being on the injured list. This isn't the Padres we're talking about, all right? It's the Yankees. Not the Marlins. We're the Marlins. Get out of here, Marlins. Nobody likes you. Well, let's get out of the truck now. Smoke a cigarette out there, maybe. I last hit the joint and I feel kind of pukey, actually. I'll probably pass on the cigarette for now. There. So now I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, this spooky place. We're not going to go way over there to look into it, because I already did. You're like, what is this? What kind of nightmare, again, horror show underground tunnel is that? Well, it just goes underneath this motel across the street. Apparently there's like a laundry room down there. I kind of went and peeked my head around there. So it's not as terrifying as it seems. So you can see how fucking big this truck is. I don't know if you can tell or not, but it's big. And I got the free upgrade to the bigger truck and the better car trailer. So my car's wheels don't have to bounce along the ground in the back. Well, there I was thinking I didn't have California plates because the truck doesn't and the trailer doesn't, but my car does. So, not for long. When we get to NY, I'll register the car with some New York plates on it. And, hello. And hopefully I don't have to spend too much money at the mechanic. From what I understand, there's something where you have to get your car approved by a mechanic or something before you register it. So that'll suck ass. But whatever. It's manageable. Things that used to seem so daunting now seem manageable. Like unpleasant but manageable. Thanks to AI. The Brewers will win the World Series this year. Wow. Impressive. You want to go to a Mets game? A Mets game? I want to go to a Mets game. I've never been to that stadium before. I'd like to check it out. Well, that's fine. Just means we're going to have to get a couple of repairs that we don't actually need. Like tire pressure sensors and some kind of fuel injection thing. I could ask Cameron what was wrong with it before. So you can see this is a good hotel for cars with trailers on them. This one has one here. And then you can see a couple of them back there as well. Because it's got drive-through parking. That's fine, you know. It's gonna have some disadvantages as well as advantages. I mean, you get your car pass inspection or what have you. That's one of the disadvantages. We'll figure it all out. Like, the thing is, this whole process is like a steep, steep hill. And then, right when you get to the very top, it goes like this, really far down. A really long, steep hill, and then it gets easy quick. Because this is actually among the easier parts. Driving across country is rough in terms of the physical toll it takes, but it's not as much of a physical toll as carrying a bunch of shit, packing stuff up, terraforming the backyard. This isn't as bad. The first day was rough because I had half day of packing, which was I just wanted to get out of there at that point, you know. And then I driving late into the night. This is easy squeezing by comparison. Today was not too taxing, not too painful. I'll be able to get a good night's sleep. I feel a lot better in the morning. And I already feel so much better than I did last night, you know. I will, for sure, tire of this quickly. I'm already more or less tired of it, you know. Who can drive for 8 or 10 hours straight without getting tired of it? Nobody. And I'm so much not a visual person. So I'm driving through this beautiful landscape, and it is absolutely gorgeous, you know. Utah is gorgeous. The end part of Nevada is attractive. Wyoming's very attractive, like full of landscapes to look at. And I was like, oh, I should stop and take some pictures of this, I guess. Except I do not care. I've seen a million fucking landscapes. I don't think I ever liked looking at landscapes. I do not know why people make such a big deal of them. I just don't like just looking at things, right? Like, well, I'm seeing things. I don't know. When I was younger, I guess I could feel the adventure a bit more. I remember really feeling the adventure of going to Russia when I went to Moscow, St. Petersburg. And being like, wow, I'm really doing it. I remember feeling much the same when I first got to China. Like, wow, crazy. I'm here in this crazy, weird place. I don't know. I don't think I got it in me anymore. I'm not impressed. Michaela is not impressed. I don't care how impressive your place is. It's like, I don't need to go traveling around looking at different places. What's the point? If I'm really feeling my oats, then I'm probably getting a lot of work done that's not physical at all. Reliant on us staying in one location. Ah, that's nice and crystal clear now with these glasses. They're reading glasses. You know that reading glasses work a totally different way than regular eyeglasses? I did not know this, but the way they make reading glasses is totally different than, essentially unrelated to, the way they make glasses that people wear all the time. Did you know this? Thanks for being here, Doyle. Have a good one. Um, if that was also implying goodbye, I'm not sure if it was, but I interpreted it as such. Moving is such hard effort, and it's really it's taxing on the soul, the emotions, whatever else you want to say. Like this whole process has churned up a lot of stuff that relates to my parents. You know, I had to go back and deal with undealt with stuff, and it brought up all these old emotions. Like throwing away some of my parents' photo albums. That was, I felt so conflicted because I felt some sort of custodial responsibility, but I didn't. I had so many more that I was keeping. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, what am I gonna do with all this shit? I am interested in like old slides from the 60s or something. Those I find cool to look at. Those are old enough that they're interesting. They're old media kind of shit that you have to work to look at. But right now outside waiting for me. Well, they're gonna have to keep waiting. I mean, just because they're outside doesn't mean they're waiting for me. They could be waiting for Godot. The other thing about going to different places and such is um, America looks the same. It doesn't matter where you are. There's subways, there's, you know, there's gas stations, there's Holiday Inn Express, and it basically looks the same. Here I am in Wyoming. Wow, Rock Springs, Wyoming, how exotic, right? Staying here at the Holiday Inn Express, across the street from the Burger King and the Subway. And then, of course, this pizza place is called Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Okay, well, I'm in Wyoming, and I had dinner at a place themed after Chicago pizza, which is, of course, not good pizza at all. They don't have Waffle House, but they have them in Arizona. I like Waffle House. That's a good restaurant. All right, I'm gonna go inside. Then I'm gonna go upstairs, and then then I'll wrap up the stream at that point. I went to a Buc-ee's before, and they have such a wide range of snacks. People taught me to remember the compass as never eat soggy waffles. Oh, I heard never eat sour watermelon. But I'd agree with both statements. Either soggy waffles or sour watermelon. Both of those things are things to be avoided. What a crazy planet we live on, huh? It's hard to believe that everything's the way it is. Like these big puffy clouds that, you know, it's a reasonable amount of storm. Of course, that's how it is now. Hasn't always been that way, I guess, but I don't know. Everything seems awfully convenient to me. like all this stuff, cars and trucks and hotels. It's hard to believe that people, that we made all of this stuff, It seems like, I don't know, it's just awfully convenient. That's all I'm saying. Of course, presumably, every generation throughout human history was susceptible thinking the same thing. They're like, well, isn't it awfully convenient that we got papyrus right when I needed to write some stuff down? That was invented right now. A long time ago, people were like that, And the answer is, yeah, it's just coincidence that papyrus was invented right then. But not for me, okay? There's no coincidence that everything's happening at the time and the way in which it's happening with me. You refreshed and still don't hear me? I refreshed and I hear him now. Wait, now I can hear. Maybe some site glitch happened. Could be the hotel Wi-Fi, is spotty. A lot more people have gone in here. Could be a bunch of people logging onto the Wi-Fi at the same time. I worry about parking the truck and the car out there overnight, but last night's neighborhood was a lot more sketchy than this one. Too much aura. That's what the doctor diagnosed me with. I said, doctor, what's wrong with me? Too much aura. Really? Yeah. I don't even need to do any tests. I can tell just by being in your presence. Way too much aura. What can I do to fix it, doctor? Well, number one, I suggest you tone it down a little bit. Okay? Too much, I'm telling you. Too much. Number two, get a lot of exercise, get a little bit better sleep. Okay. More prudence, less fun. All right. Curious Wanderer. Winston's mom is a random Gen Z. Oh, it's a random Gen Z slang I heard online that meant someone's cool factor, like too much aura, too cool. Huh. Well, I think of my aura as having a certain color, depending on my mood. Right now, I think my aura is pretty brown, but it may be yellowing up over time. Turquoise is included in host Eric's aura colors. Turquoise, huh? I like the idea of being turquoise aura, but I'm not feeling especially turquoise at the moment. I think, if my aura is is really popping in any given moment. It's going to have a lot of turquoise and saffron, or tercaffron, as they call it. Oh, face rub. You know, when I rub my eyes, it's a pretty good indication that I'm tired. I have no aura because I broke the laws of physics. Which laws of physics did you break? There's some mellow yellow, but it's there mainly to serve the turquoise. I'm just mad about saffron. She's just mad about me. Gang, 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 gang. They call me Mellow Yellow. Donovan's got some pretty good songs. He's a pretty good songwriter. Oh, well, I guess I'm about ready to wrap things up here. I'm not super eager to end the stream just because once I do, I just, be here by myself, just getting ready to go to bed. Seems kind of seems kind of anticlimactic, but I think that's probably what I ought to do. The thing is, it's an hour later than my watch says. To me, it feels like 7 p.m., but it's actually almost 8 p.m. Yeah, I need to sleep. Yeah, but I'm not gonna go to sleep right away anyway. I still gotta take a shower, and taking a shower certainly helps with the SI stuff. It's important to handle your SI stuff successfully. I struggle with it all the time. I appreciate the company as well, Rachel, and everybody else. You know, it's a long, solitary day in the truck. It doesn't feel nearly as solitary as it might otherwise, thanks to YouTube. I Before I set off today, I established myself quite a long playlist of stuff to listen to, and then I did listen to that stuff. I think I got, yeah, I think I stopped it partway through the second Fat Electrician video, which was towards the end of the playlist, may have been the last video on the playlist. He's a fun YouTube channel. If you've never checked him out, you should do so. He tells stories about like historical figures from the wars. So like um he I listened to several of his videos. What's odd is usually if I watch something as talking with famous people, I will end up it'll somehow end up being watched as Eric Strauss. So I like this guy's videos quite a bit, but I haven't watched him in ages because when I'm on my laptop, I don't ever log in as talking with famous people. I just log in as Eric Strauss. But on my phone, I never log in as anybody but talking with famous people. So accordingly, um, I get slightly different recommendations depending on who I am, right? But for some reason, Fat Electrician, he didn't sort of transfer over to Eric Strauss. I'm not sure why not. Obviously, if you give YouTube the same basic like profile stuff on two different profiles. In other words, I don't watch different kinds of videos depending on which profile I'm on. I like the same kinds of videos, same YouTube channels, regardless of which profile I'm on. And naturally, if YouTube has that same amount, the same baseline information basically for both people, then it's going to recommend basically the same videos for both people. But not always, as is indicated by my happy rediscovery of Fat Electrician. That's one of those things that I did not think about at all before I left. I did think how I was gonna need to make playlists to listen to, but I didn't think about how I was gonna be on a different profile. So it's kind of nice because the two different profiles are a little bit different from each other, even though they shouldn't be. I'm not trying to make them different at all. So, we're talking about Euphoria. I barely know much about Euphoria, but I heard some controversial stuff about it. Like that Cassie person. Have y'all heard about that weird Zootopia 2 scene? No, I haven't. OMG, Curious Wanderer. Cassie's character gets no sympathy in the end. The first season's Cassie's character was so nuanced. Huh. Well, I guess it got worse. You know, got worse as it went along. It's problematic. That's such a interesting word. It's a word that Ash Silver uses a lot. Or at least sometimes. Maybe not a lot. I like her content. I could see myself listening to her, but that's what made me realize I was on a different profile. Was I started listening to videos I've already watched. Like, why are you recommending these videos that I've already watched? And so then I realized, oh, that's why. How's the weather supposed to be as I go back east? Well, right now it's pretty stormy outside, but when you're driving, it's generally speaking, you don't get stuck in weather for very long, right? Like you'll drive through it unless it's some sort of massive storms that you hit that just never end. Then you're gonna end up driving through it pretty quick. You'd have to pretty much be hitting it head on the long way for that not to happen, right? In almost every scenario, you're going to be, in some sense, cutting across the storm in a way that makes you get out of the weather a lot faster than if you were to just wait out the storm, right? Like I got some rain in Nevada today, but I was through it pretty quickly. It was pretty sporadic too. Enough to make it smell like rain. I love the smell of rain. I guess it's just the smell of water, but it's not just the smell of water. It's the smell of rain. It's got a very distinct smell. A lot of Long Island and Manhattan is underwater. There was a tornado that ran from Illinois to NYC yesterday. Really? Well, good thing we'll have a few days to dry out before I get there. That's surprising. Didn't know New York got tornadoes. I tend to think of them as being more of a tropical storm slash hurricane place. Petrichor, the smell of first rain on dry ground. Space Daily. Yeah, usually no tornadoes. Well, this tornado said, too bad. Eric, would you like for me to sing you a lullaby? Yeah, okay. Can you do Mama loves shortening, 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 Mama loves shortening, shortening bread? That puts me right to sleep. Like nothing else. It's like a sedative mixed with a muscle relaxant mixed with a anesthetic. That's how much it makes me go to sleep. I just start thinking, Mama does love shortening bread. She sure does. Boy, that makes me sleepy. You know what I wish I had gotten? Maybe I'll go back to that. I need to get another bottle of water. I smell like weed. And smell it on myself. That's what happens when you smoke a joint, you know. You just smoke longer if you don't really smell that much like weed. But when you start smoking a joint, well, I think we all know what happens then. What happens then is that you smell like weed. Okay, so let's go outside to get another water. And I'll also smoke another cigarette. And then we'll come back up. And then for realies, I'll end the stream and start getting ready for bed. It's 8 o'clock now, so it seemed probably premature to start getting ready for bed before 8 o'clock. Even though I could certainly use the sleep. I'm running a sleep deficit and could totally benefit from catching up. But you know what's interesting is that I deal with a sleep deficit a lot better these days than I used to. Like, maybe not as well as I used to, but in Mariposa for the majority of the time there, I was kind of an emotionally, you know, well, hot and cold, I guess. I had some difficult times emotionally. I had some fun times too, but like I think because I was struggling in general with my, I guess you'd say mental health. It's probably the best general term for it. Because of that, I think the challenge is that the dopamine crash were aggravated substantially. I think normally I handle that pretty, I guess you'd say in my default state, I think I handle that pretty smoothly. But I'm not sure I'll ever quite handle it as well again as I used to. Regardless, we're going to go downstairs, we're going to get a bottle of water, we're going to have a cigarette, and we're going to go back upstairs. And we find how busy that's you. So I got my laptop plugged into the HDMI with the HDMI cable into the TV. So I just have to. I can watch my normal YouTube. So I got Bretsky going on in the other tab. Bretsky's a comforting familiarity. It's like YouTube comfort food. Thanks, Rachel. I went to a real cool gal. Went with a real cool gal to his show. Windy. Would not be surprised at all if we get some precipitation. See what's going on. That guy over there, he was like milling around over here. He's got the craziest Oliver Tree haircut. I'm assuming maybe he was just looking down there like I did. It's hard not to want to look down there. But I guess they're staying at that motel over there. This goes to like the laundry room of that motel or something. Super spooky. Anyway, I worry about having the truck parked here, but I'm sure if well, I mean, this is a much less sketchy neighborhood than last time. So you just have to hope for the best, I guess. And I'm getting the water. That's what I'm doing right here. You can see, doesn't that look like Wyoming? Just some random street in Wyoming. Well, I've got news for you. It is. All right, I got a water. It's all locked up. So, we just have to hope for the best. Hope I come out tomorrow morning and the truck's fine. Nobody stole all of our stuff. You know, if they steal the right boxes and such, then I'd probably be okay with it. I like how Eric has dimples, even when he's not smiling. Aren't I adorable? Well, that tunnel, it doesn't go very far. I went down and peeked my head in there, and there's an open door with lights and what seems like a laundry room under there. But it still looks about as sketchy as anything could possibly be. And then there's this clearly abandoned building here. I guess I got too far away from the Wi-Fi. I'll go back over here closer to it. I'll go upstairs and wrap it. Call it a wrap. It's so late in August, and yet it's still light at 8:15. It's kind of crazy. The longest day of the year was more than 2 months ago. I guess the main thing about early darkness time is once daylight savings time ends. Then that's when it starts getting dark really early. What time do you think it gets dark? Like December 21st, like 4 p.m.? I guess we are a long ways away from that. But it's still summer, still daylight savings time. Can we get rid of daylight savings time, please? I think it's dumb. I mean, I guess I like it being late in the summer. Just keep it year round, maybe. Call it all the time savings time. All the time savings time would be a good name for it. Well, everybody, don't set your clocks back or forward because we're now on all the time savings time. Everybody just get used to it. I guess some people like it getting dark early, probably around about Christmas time. It contributes to your quote-unquote long winter's nap. If you've got one of those long nightcaps, a nightgown, and you're holding a candle, you want it to get dark pretty early. Who can blame you there? Well, I gotta say, these overalls are serving me well. One of the many horrible things that happened on Friday was I got to the Fancher Monument, Merced, and I had determined some distance before there that I needed to pull over because I forgot to hook the chain onto the bottom of the car. It's like there's multiple ways in which it's locked in place, right? They have this one chain that's like, you know, restraint of last resort if everything else fails. So it wasn't like critically important that it be on there, but I also didn't want it dragging on the ground, obviously. So I had to pull over, lie in the dirt, and try to find the fucking place under the car where it goes. I got my hands all covered with black shit from underneath the car. And it's just like, oh god. I tried to wash them off a little bit with some. I didn't even have any paper towels or anything. It was like, oh, fuck me. But I managed to resolve the matter last night when I took a shower at long last. Alright, we'll go back upstairs and say goodbye. Okay.
Subs are so cool. Already? Already?
Okay, we're back. Alright, so that's going to be the end of today's stream. Thank you for being here. I love you all. And I'll talk to you next time on Talking with Famous People.